you and your business ready? Meaning, do you have a plan? You know what your business needs are? One of the mistakes that I'll talk about is people coming into and hiring a VA and then trying to figure out what to do with them. Okay? You need a plan. You need to think this through before you get there. When I say, is your business ready? Do you have cash flow going? You got deals going now? Or are you starting up day one? You know, you have to have things in motion and a way to pay for that VA. Do you have a task list ready to delegate? This is important. You need to think this through so that you can start being effective and putting your VA to work on day one. They can't help you if you don't help yourself. Do you have file sharing, storage plan set up? Could you do this via email, all email and attachments? Sure. Be hard. I don't recommend it. I happen to use Box for all of my business documentation and sharing with my VA. You can use Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive, but I started with Box because Box at the time was one of the best rated secure systems at the time that was free. Well, now I'm at a point where I've got so much stuff that I can't get free anymore. But it's still a great system. But you just need to think through those things and figure out, okay, how are you going to share stuff? If you are going to have your VA working on documents for you, you need to have them someplace where they're stored so that she can get to it, or he, could be a he, but they need to be in a collaborative environment, a cloud environment, in my opinion, so it's easy to share, easy to work together on. You know, Microsoft Office 365 and Box work really well together. You know, it's collaborative. You can both be working the documents together. You have communications tools in place. How are you going to talk? Email's not sufficient, in my opinion. It's one way to talk. But in my opinion, you need to have one of these other tools. I happen to use Skype. I love Skype. I can talk to my VA on my phone. I can call her Saturday. But during the week, I could call her on my phone using Skype and sound like I'm just standing here talking to you. It's that good now. The other benefit of Skype, how many people don't use Skype? Wow. Skype is great because you can do text messaging. It can be online all the time. You can call. You can do a Skype call. You can do a video call. And you can do file transfer like that, upload, download files between you. And now they added recording video calls. So you can do training with it, record the video, save it. I mean, it's just a great tool for free. These other tools are good, but you know, for just day-to-day communications, I don't know of anything beats Skype. Do you have the tools in place that you need to give your REVA to do work? You know, if you're expecting her to pull comps, you need to have a comps tool. Ask CMA. If you want them to do website work for you, you need to have the websites. If you want a CRM, if you want them to manage a CRM, you need to get that for you. Don't hire the VA today and start going to set these things up and buy these accounts and stuff tomorrow. Get it set up first so that the VA can go to work day one. Do you have sufficient cash flow to grow your business and for you to live off of? if you're just starting in the business and you're doing one deal every 6 months, and you're only making $5,000 a deal, you might struggle with trying to live off that money and pay a VA too. You need to get the deal flow going and the cash flow, or have enough cash flow set aside in reserves that you'll be able to afford the VA. What good does it do you to hire a VA today, and after you go through the training and setup and stuff and get to know one another, and then cancel in 60 days, 90 days? It doesn't do you any good, right? That was all a waste of time and energy and setting things in place only to cancel. So, suggest you get these things in place first. If you want to get money set aside specifically for VA, figure out what that amount is so that you don't have to cancel right away. You got to give the system time, give the VA time, give you and the VA time to work together and get things clicking for you. If the answer is yes, you do have the cash flow, then you might be ready for your first VA. You also have to be ready up here. You know, are you ready to expand your business and have somebody working for you? How many people have never had somebody work for you? Never? I'm not talking about real estate, but never had an employee or contractor working for you at all.
Not consistently, like they work for me all the time at jobs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it takes a little bit of work. So now you're ready. Where do you start? Make a list of those tasks you don't have time for. What's your time worth? Think about it. Is your time better spent reviewing lists, pulling comps, trying to skip trace? Is that the best use of your time? Or is your time better spent on meeting with sellers and making offers? Okay? Make a list of the things you don't have time for. We're going to talk about some of those as ideas here in a few minutes. Make a list of the tasks you don't know how to do or aren't very good at it. How many people are good at everything that needs to be done in this business? Nobody. Only me. So, again, spend some time on these questions and making these lists. What are you not good at?
What do you hate to do?
We're going to talk about it, but I want you to think about the question. And then you have stuff that you just plain don't like to do. You know, I mean, there are those things, right?
Right.
Paperwork might be one of them. Anybody enjoy paperwork? Ryan shaking his head.
I'm an accountant.
Okay, that explains it. Think this through carefully, because this is important. How much should you delegate? Now that you have your list, how do you determine how much to delegate? You can't just go give it all away, can you? That is one of the mistakes that I'll address. Is some investors like to turn the whole business over to the VA. That's a big mistake, in my opinion. I'm sure there's some VA services that would love to take it and tell you they can do it, but that's really not my experience. I would recommend you consider the background and experience of your new REVA as a starting point. What does their resume say they're good at? And keep that in mind. I recommend you start with 10 to 15 hours a week as a starting point. Why do I do that? Why do I say that?
Get an idea of how good they are.
That, and for your benefit, many, especially new investors, don't know quite what to delegate. So this takes a little bit of pressure off you. If you only start with 10 to 15 hours a week, it gives you a chance to figure out what you really want to task or delegate, and fine-tune the training for it, because you do have to train your VA. Yes, our services, I don't know about others, we provide some basic stuff on investors' background and what investors do and stuff, and they have all the computer skills, but you're still going to have to train them on specifically what you expect them to do and what the result should be. Okay? And it's for your benefit as much as it is theirs to take it slowly, start with 10, 15 hours a week, get the process down, get the systems in place, make sure the VA is understanding your needs and you understand the VA and you're talking and so forth. The people that I see jumping into 30 and 40 hours a week don't stay there long because they don't know what to delegate, they don't communicate, they don't do the right training, they don't have the systems in place, and they're short-lived. So don't start that way. Start with 10, 15 hours, work into it, get comfortable. It may be that 10, 15 hours is all you need. Naturally, the VA service would love it if you pay them 40 hours. But they don't like it when you quit early. Let them, give it time, let it work, and let the system work. Based on that 10, 15 hours, what tasks are most important to you and your business? What do you need done the most that you can give a VA? Train them, give them the tools, give them the task, let them go to work, fine-tune the task, be clear on the task. Don't be vague. Give them the details of what you need, how to do it, what your expectations are. I highly recommend that you do all your training with video. I learned this the hard way. When I first started, I was getting on the phone, I was doing email, getting on Skype, doing this training, and it was going good. I don't remember how long it was, 6 months, a year or something. My VA got sick, couldn't go back to work. I had to go do it again. Thought, man, that sucks. Now I got to go spend all this time do it all over. I didn't learn the second time. After the third time, though, I learned I don't do anything that's not on video now with my VA as far as training goes. I record everything. I save all the video in Box. We have a place in Box that we can save it all. That way, the VA or Pam, my office assistant, can go in and watch those videos anytime they need to. I periodically go in and update them. So it's just, that's the hard lesson I learned, and that's the thing for you to take home and learn from my mistake, is start with video. It's so easy to do nowadays. I don't use Skype for that. I do use Screencast-O-Matic because I can edit. Screencast-O-Matic.
Is that free, or what does it cost?
Screencast-O-Matic.com. There is a free version, but it's limited, so I have the paid version. And now they've gone crazy with the capabilities. So you can do all kinds of things with that tool now. I love it. Been on it for probably 5, 8 years, something like that. Put all tasks in writing, better yet in video, and be specific on what you need done and when. Leave no room for doubt. Give examples whenever possible. but be specific, put it in video. That way they can always refer back to it. Always refer back to it. That's the advantage of the cloud storage, you know, Box, Dropbox, that kind of thing. By the way, back on the cloud storage for a minute. I use Box for all of my in-office, VA, collaboration, document, business storage. I do not use Box whatsoever for sharing outside of my business. If anyone ever gets a document from me that's too big and I have to share it some other way, it goes through Dropbox. That way, even though Box is secure, I'm doing my security measures, and I'm preventing anybody from sharing from within Box. Does that make sense? So I share things through Dropbox, not Box. Only my office staff have access to Box. Be sure your REVA has all the necessary tools to accomplish the task assigned. And I can't stress that enough. Get those tools in place before you start. If you have a new task form, make sure you go get the tools for them. They do not provide tools. And to my knowledge, none of the VA services do. Now they might if you paid some extra fee for it, but you're better off to be in control and have that tool yourself. Once they're performing tasks to your satisfaction, then select one or two more tasks to expand and assign and outsource to the VA. Okay? Then you can consider adding additional hours if needed. My recommendation is test them. Add a task. Go a couple weeks, however long you think it takes to get them to fine-tune what they're doing and they're producing like you want. Add another task. Don't necessarily add the hours yet. Keep adding the task until you see that they can't perform all the tasks within the hours you give them. Then you consider adding on more hours. Does that make sense? Make them perform. You're trying to get the max bucks for or max benefit for the bucks you're spending, right? Once you're working together smoothly and you're on the same page, then you can consider adding additional hours. What you should never delegate to a REVA. This is my opinion only. Any ideas? Anybody got any ideas? What kind of things you would not want to delegate to your VA?
Bookkeeping.
Say again?
Bookkeeping. Your bookkeeping.
Bookkeeping?
Yep.
Okay.
Depends on the language as well.
Anybody else?
Make an offer.
Making offers? Anybody else? Okay. I totally disagree with anybody trying to, turn over financial management, credit card stuff, bookkeeping. There's a lot of VA services that offer these types of services. I just don't personally care to let go of it. Okay? I do not recommend it. You can do it. I believe our company is very good with it. I prefer not to test it. They've been around a long time. That has to tell you something. But it's one of those things I like to keep my arm around. Calling sellers and making offers for you. Why do I think that's a bad idea?
Because
Anybody?
they're not here, they don't understand the market, necessarily the clientele. If they can get your foot in the door for you to do it, that's one thing. But I would think
Whose business is it?
it's your business, yeah, that too. Yeah.
Are you going to be happy if that VA loses that deal for you that you thought was a slam dunk? Because she says something wrong? Do we have VAs that do it? Yes. And I see a lot of investors that want this, but I don't recommend it. You know who I see doing it most? Brand new investors that don't have a clue. They're afraid, they're scared. They think the VA should go do it for them. You can do it, I don't recommend you do it.
That's the reason we get paid the big bucks, is to,
That's right.
is to be talking to sellers.
The VAs are not trained to be investors. They're not an investor. They're not trained on handling objections. What you think may have been a simple objection may not have been, and that VA just may not respond correctly, and you may lose that deal. So this is a big point for me. Calling sellers to follow up on the offers made. It's kind of the same thing, right? If there's objections and the VA can't handle it very well, it's a different story to call and say, just wanted to follow up and see if you received the offer. You know? Would you like to talk to the owner? You know, maybe something like that. But I would not have them try to, handle any objections and actually doing a follow-up on that offer. So, any questions on that? Any more things you think we should add to that list? None? None at all? How do you pay your REVA? Your real estate virtual assistant. There's many ways to pay them, and it depends on what your business needs are and what service it is that you're talking to out there. They're all different. You could pay by the hour. You could pay with a bulk pricing option, meaning so many hours per week,